Hey guys, it's Demi from Demi's Divine Designs, and today I'm going to be doing another sewing tutorial. Well, it's not really a tutorial, it's more like a sew along, but same thing. I'm sewing today, and I'm going to be sewing up the Annette from Swoon Patterns. I have sewn this bag, I want to say like 10 times at this point. I love this pattern. When going through it today, I am going to deviate from the instructions a little bit. One, because I don't have certain hardware that it needs. I don't have enough. So I'm going to improvise and we're going to see if that works. I'll put a little thing here if it doesn't work, but I don't know yet because I haven't started. I'm making this as a Harry Potter themed bag today. One, because my aunt loves Harry Potter, and the last time I made a bag like this, I sold it before I was able to show it to her. So I'm going to make it this time so now she can see it forever. And secondly, me and my husband just got the Hogwarts Legacy game. We've been playing it and it is really good. I highly suggest if you're a huge Harry Potter fan, get it. It is an exact replica of the school Hogsmeade. It is amazing. Okay, so moving on to that, we are going to start on the handle portion of the pattern, which is where I'm going to make my first deviation. So let's get that going. All right, so I'm going to make both of my straps at once, which is why I got this nice long piece of vinyl here. And I am just going to take double-sided tape because it's easy, it's my friend. I'm just going to go down the middle and I'm going to do a double fold where I'm going to fold both of the raw edges in toward the center and then fold that together. It's going to be fun. So we're going to do a speed montage of me going through and doing that because that takes a while. Pew. Lay this out. Smoosh. And now if I was smart, I would have measured that, but I'm not. All right, so tape is down, center-ish. I didn't measure. Eyeball. And now I'm going to fold. I'm not going to put music in here, so I'm just going to talk to myself, and it's going to sound like the Animal Crossing characters talking when I speed it up, so that's going to be interesting. Okay, so at this point I have my handle. That looks really weird on camera. Move. At this point I have my handle all prepped. Now I'm just going to kind of top stitch. I'm going to do one on the double fold. It looks like a little heart. I'm going to do one stitch here, down this side, and then one down this side just to get that going. And this is going to be my handle. It'll make sense why I'm doing this now once you see the modification I'm making. So, all right. And same thing, I am not going to be adding music because of how well that worked out last time. Sorry again for anybody's eardrums that might have exploded. So we're going to prevent that from happening at all by me not even putting music in. All right, and there is our handles. Now I'm going to fold this in half, snip, and make sure that this is the length that we need for what the pattern will suggest. If it's a tiny bit longer, that is okay with me as well. So I'm gonna double check. Choom, choom, choom. Ooh, yeah, we good. It's only like an inch longer, so that's fine. All right, so the main difference that I'm making to the outside of the bag is I'm gonna attach the straps directly to the bag using the hidden connector method. I saw this on Lynn's handmade Guardian bag, and I figured why not adapt it here. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna grab my front piece. And I'm going to, this is going to be scary because I haven't done this before. So we're going to see if this works. If it doesn't, we're all gonna cry together at my wasted fabric. So it says to measure, yeah, so I'm gonna take 2 of these. All right. So it says the end placement should be right about here is where that should work. So I can't give you guys that measurement. You got to get that from the pattern. I'm just gonna mark that placement with my 2 dots, my blue dots. Do that on the other side as well. Measure down, measure over, dot away. So we got our dots. What I'm thinking I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw a line connecting these dots and go a tiny bit to the side of each. Yeah, that looks right. That looks like it did on the Guardian. Ha ha ha. Same thing, connect the dots, go a little out, like that. And I'm gonna take my X-Acto knife and I'm gonna cut on those lines. Again, haven't tried this, don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna attempt it. So I'm just gonna slitty slit. And this might be something that I actually might want to use my knife to start. And then I could easily see me hurting myself. Let's go like this. We're gonna use our seam ripper, not our X-Acto knife, because that's just asking to lose a digit. Get that started like that. So I can stick my finger through it. And then I have like these precision scissors. So we'll use these to cut along here. And I am cutting through, because I have cotton lycra, which is my exterior, interfacing, and then foam. I'm cutting through all of it. Sneap. And again, I'm doing this not knowing if this is going to work. So if it doesn't, I'm going to hold a funeral for this fabric, because I don't even remember where I got it. And figure something else out. Sneap. This should work, in theory. Like, the theory of it works in my mind. Sneap. 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 Same on this side. Oh, wait. I'm not sewing. Let's have it where you guys can hear me, because I know that's going to create like a in the background. All right, so we are cut. We have the hose. And so the theory is that I should be able to stick my handle in this hole and stitch it like they do on the Guardian. So am I going to attempt this? Yes, I am. In theory, that's working. I think. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Tuck that in nice and tight like that. Make sure my strap is straight. And then they took that like this and stitched right along. I'm actually going to have this, you know that inch that I said that we were over? Haha, I'm going to stick this out an inch. And then we're going to stitch right here. Right there. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Click. flip. Oh, it's gonna work, guys. Okay, beautiful. Look at that. Yes, okay. So now we're gonna rivet like right there to keep that there. Yes, okay, we're gonna do the same on the other side. Take your strap, make sure it's straight. Loop-de-loop and pull, and your shoes are looking good. Same thing, stick, flip, measure the inch. That was more like 1.25 inches. Yes. Make sure it's centered. Stitch along the top. Haha, and then it's gonna flip like that. Oh my god, that's so cute. Okay, perfect. And I'm actually gonna do 2 rivets. I'm gonna do one down here and maybe one up here. I gotta see how that looks, because I'm not sure if I'm gonna like that. I don't know. Okay. Pressy press. All right, so definitely gonna make sure. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do the rivet down here. I think doing a rivet up here, as much as I may like that idea, I'm not sure if that's gonna cause me an issue at the end. I don't know, but definitely down at the bottom. So, unscrew the one portion. I'm gonna need that in a minute, so don't go too far. Grab the other one. Grab the whole portion. Fight to get it in the die. Now for this one, I'm just going right in the center, about, I'll go, what's that? 3/8 of an inch down from where our strap goes in. Boosh. Hully hull. Grab my rivets. I wish I had antique bronze rivets. I think that would have looked really good, but I don't have any. So I'm gonna use gunmetal, which I think will look good because it's going on like a black and white thing. Yeah, actually that looks really cute. So that's what we're gonna do. Stay put. Stop trying to run away from me. Yes. And you know what? Yeah, I think we are gonna put one up there. It might defeat the purpose a tiny bit, but yeah, I think we're gonna do it. And I'm just gonna measure 3/8 of an inch up and center it on the strap. I don't think that's gonna cause us any issues when we put the bag together. Clip. Yeah, that actually looks really good. And I kind of picked the colors and the patterns thinking that it's like a briefcase for one of the ministry workers. So I think that kind of goes along with it pretty nicely. Enter. Move my thing. Smoosh. Do the same thing over here. 3/8 of an inch. and smoosh. Bite with the baggie. Now, I was planning on doing the hidden connector method anyway, but I was going through my hardware that I had, and I realized that I did not have enough rectangle connectors to do that. So, in my sheer panic, I was wondering, oh, I wonder what would happen if I would just connect the strap directly to the bag, eliminating that part of hardware. So we're going to see how it works. We're going to see if that's going to go together well. I think it will. It looks like it's going to go together nicely. I guess we're going to find out at the end. But yeah, so I get to unscrew that one. And now we get to set these 4 rivets. Smoosh. Oh yeah, that looks good. I might have cut the holes a little too big, but that I will be able to hide. That looks pretty good. They're connected on nice. Yeah, that strap's not going anywhere. We're good. So now we're going to repeat that same process on the back side, which, tell me this back is not adorable. That is so freaking cute. So we're going to do that again. I am going to cut the holes a little bit smaller this time than what I did last time. I think it was a little too wide. Which we got this. This is the fun with playing around with patterns. You get to test, see if something works. If it doesn't, change it around. And there we go. So we went through and got the front and backs done. Straps are looking good. Now we're going to work on these side pieces. All right, now we're going to move on to the side exterior pieces, these guys, and we're going to attach the detachable adjustable strap, which uses the cutest connectors that I am picking. Look at these. It's the little sorting hat. So this is what's going to be our connector on the side. So it's going to be like, whoop, and we're going to connect this according to the pattern. So we're going to follow all those instructions and get that measured. So we're going to center and measure down the, you done? We're going to center down and measure the measurement that it says in the pattern. Pew. Oh, look, it's right on Snape's head. Snape has a dot. And so that is going to be where our strap connector is going to end. You're going to take strap connectors, and I did already do this off camera and forgot to record it. So you're going to take a piece of your accent fabric. You're going to kind of do what we did for the strap, but you're not going to take that final bit and fold it again. You're just going to leave it like that with the raw edges in the center. Since that's going against the fabric, you're not going to see it. So we're going to take our connector with the raw edges in the center, fold this down. I did have to increase the size a little bit since my my connector is a bit fatter than the one that they're using. So see that? Snippy snip. Fold this up like that so you have your two raw edges in the center back here. Align that up with your mark. And that is where your connector is going to go. You have a few ways of connecting this. You could do as the pattern says and stitch along the rectangle, or you can do rivets. I actually think I'm going to do both just because I like that extra security since this is going to get tugged on a lot. So let's stitch this guy out. Once that's done, you're going to have it stitched like that. Stitch down the side, follow your previous stitching, and back up. And I am going to put a rivet in the center here just because I like having that extra security, just that extra oomph to make sure it doesn't come off. I'm just going to eyeball my center. Smoosh. And I'm just going to put it in when I do the other one. No point to do it twice. And I'm going to do the same on this one. Don't need that. Don't know why I have that. Okay, fine. Go over there. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. Measure down what it recommends in the pattern, which I should have thought that out more when I was doing some pattern placement, but it's fine. Most of this panel gets hidden anyway with the pocket. And the same thing, we're going to take this fold, take this one, fold this one up. How much different is that one? Not much. We can make it look the same. There we go. Like that. Center, line it up with that. And stitch it out the same way, going around your previous stitching on the connectors and doing the horizontal stitches as well. And there we go. That one's stitched, and I'm going to do a rivet in the center of this one as well. All right, since they're both done, I'm going to grab 2 rivets. There are 2 caps, 2 rivets, and rivet these into place. Cleep. That looks really cute. I do wish I had antique bronze rivets, but the gunmetal does look pretty good. Not even going to complain about it. All right, and now we're just going to set both of these rivets. One and 2. And so they look like that. Flippy, flappy, flappy, flippy. Same on this one. Now we're going to work on the pocket that goes onto these and get that prepped so we can baste it onto the side panels. All right, to work on your pockets that go on the side panels, you're going to need your pocket lining and your pocket exterior. And doing this, I think it's pretty easy and it's really cute how it comes together. So you're going to take one of your exteriors and lay it right side up. Take one of your linings, lay it right side down. And we're going to clip along this hoop side, making sure that that is all connected and even and straight and all that fun. So let's do that. Line it up and clip. And clip. Does anybody else have like a weird thing when they're clipping that their clips have to all be facing the same way? So since I started with the back facing the vinyl, I need to make sure that the back for all of them are facing the vinyl, or it just like, I don't know, it gives me bad juju. Don't know if I'm just weird or if that's like a normal thing. So just go through. Bam. And now we are going to sew along this seam here. I like to do 1/4 of an inch since it's one of the easiest things for me to find. So we're going to get that prepped and we're going to stitch right along here at 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Like that. We got a smile. I'm gonna clip into this curve to help getting to turn out easier and so it lays flatter. And I'm just gonna take scissors, go really close, not all the way through my seams. Don't cut your threads. That's gonna defeat the entire purpose of everything you just did. So just do nice little clips, get really close up to the threads, but do not cut through them. And I'm doing it at what it looks like 1/4 of an inch. Between 1/4 and 1/2 of an inch. Is this necessary? No. Am I doing it? Yes. I'd rather be safe than sorry. Especially because my vinyl has like that puffy fabric on the back. Okay. Now I got all those cut. You can't hear me again. Now I got those cut. I'm going to take this and flip. And now we're going to line up the rest of the edges. I like to start at the bottom and then I will push the top seam out as after I have the bottom like straight and organized. I'll just work my way up. Same thing, just work your way up, push that out, and it should lay really nicely, especially if you clipped in the curve. Same thing. Hey, don't fall. Smoosh. Beautiful. Like that. So now we're going to top stitch along this one at 1/8 of an inch. I just ride my presser foot along the fold and it stitches out pretty nice most of the time. And ba-bam. I'm going to clip off these dog ears. They make me uncomfy. Like that. And like that. And now you can do one of two things at this point. You can go through and base these edges if that's something that you feel necessary doing, or you can just directly put this onto your exterior accent piece, side panel, not accent piece, exterior side panel, and base them all together. I like to just live dangerously and just move it over now, and it'll baste itself when I'm stitching it on here. So you're going to take, if you're doing it this method, you're going to take it and you see it's quite bigger than the other one. So I like to start at the bottom, making sure that those are straight, not lose my clip. It ran away from me. And start clipping at the bottom. And I'll go one side up, taking this side, picking it up to move it to be a line. And it's going to create a bump. There's going to be a nice little whoosh right there. That's how it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go through and do that. Starting at the bottom, working my way up, moving the side panel, moving the pocket panel to meet the side, creating the pocket itself. So there's that side. You see, like, I got it all lined and it's creating this to like pucker up. That's good. It should. And then we're going to do the same on this side. Take it, find your center, clippy clip, and work your way up, moving the pocket to meet the side panel and making sure you're clipping all of your layers in together. You want to make sure you're getting all of the side panel pieces. So that'll be the side panel, which for me is the cotton lycra, the woven interface, which should be fused or attached at some point, and your foam. So I'm making sure I'm doing that, pushing that up, and that created quite a gap. Hello. Which is fine. That's exactly what you should happen. You should be able to me. And so now we're going to stitch along the U at, I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch. No, I'm going to go quarter inch. Going around the U, back stitching at the start in the beginning, start in the end, start in the end. Yeah, they're two different things. Start and end, back stitch. And let's go. Okay, so here is the first side. My vinyl did like to slide around on me a lot, so I had to fight with it, and it did cause me to go off the rails a little bit here, but that's going to be in the seam allowance, so you're never going to notice. And we're going to repeat the same process with the second side, making the pocket, turning it inside out, top stitching, and attaching it onto the end panel. And I'm going to zoom through that, and you can watch. Okay, and there is the second one. So we have the front, we got the two sides, our pockets, our clips. There's that. And now we're going to move on to working on the interior of the bag. Okay, when starting on your lining portion of the bag, we're going to start with the zipper pocket. And for that, you're going to need one main lining panel, your zipper with an adorable zipper pull, your two pocket pieces, a ruler, and whatever you need to mark. So first things we're going to do is we're going to mark our center, which we're going to take our main lining piece. I like to fold it in half and then just take a pair of scissors and do a tiny little snip. And I mean like tiny, barely 1/8 of an inch, just enough for you to see it on both the top and the bottom. There we go. So you have your notch there. You can kind of see it. There's my finger. And then a notch down there. That one's a little easier to see. And then you're going to lay the main panel fabric like right side down. Measure down what it tells you to measure in the pattern. And make sure you're doing that while keeping it centered. So on this ruler that I got from Okla Roots, there's a center line mark, which is what I'm using, lining that with the tip of my notch that I just cut, marking down and drawing a line like so. Then you're going to take the box and you're going to make it a 1/2 inch long, 1/2 inch wide. No, yeah, wide, 1/2 inch wide. And then you're going to measure long what it tells you in the pattern. I'm finding my center, drawing my box. Same on the side, center, and box. And then when you're done, you're gonna have this box. this is what we're going to use to sew one of these zipper pockets on. But what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to put that on the bottom where we can't see it. So you have multiple ways of doing that. Mine, it does kind of bleed through a little bit so I can kind of see my box. As long as I make sure that this kind of covers it, right sides together, I'm not really like that concerned about it. So yeah, that looks fine. Here you can clip, tape, pin, whatever floats your boat. I'm gonna live dangerously and I'm gonna just flip it over, hold it nice and tight, and I'm gonna stitch along this box, just straight along, nothing different. All right, so now that that is done, you have your stitch box that goes through both fabrics, keeps that. My fabric is slightly crooked, but it is not going to make a difference. It's a lining pocket. I'm not worried about it. So what we have to do now is we're going to draw a center line going through that pocket we just sewed. Taking our marking tool, center line. And then stopping about 1/2 inch and creating diagonal lines that go from the center line out to the corners of the stitch box that you made. Okay, so now you're going to take your seam ripper, and you're going to rip along that center line that we just drew. Then we're going to cut into these diagonal lines, getting dangerously close to the stitches, but not close enough that we're going through them. We want to get close that we're very uncomfortable. We're kind of like having that freak out in the center. I actually just like to use my seam ripper to start it, and then I'll take a pair of trusty dusty scissors and cut the rest of the way through that. And now I'm going to cut dangerously close to those stitches. Dangerously close. Yep, that was close, that was close. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to show you guys how close I got, but like that right there is the stitch. Same there. I did not cut through the thread. The thread is still attached, but I cut darn close to it. And I'm gonna do that on the other side. Following my halfway line and then cutting diagonally down, getting really close to my stitches. Same on this side. Dangerously close. Like that. Not sure if you guys can see that. Yeah, you can see it. Again, there's my stitch. You can see it there, but the thread is still really attached. It's not broken. The thread is good. So now we're going to take our pocket and turn it inside out through that hole. And depending on how much of a gap you left on the top, this might be a bit challenging. You can go through and iron it to get the nice crease. You could use tape to just hold it down, use washi tape, use double-sided tape down at the bottom. I don't think the double-sided tape would be a good idea because you have to sew through that section. So probably just going to take some washi tape, or in my case, painter's tape, because that's what's right next to me, to hold that down. Keep that nice and tight. Yeah, let's do that. Painter's tape. Not a lot, and I'm not going to cover the whole piece. I'm just going to cover enough to hold it into place. Like that. Because now we're going to lay this right side down. Right side up. And now we're going to take our zipper and center it over this section. Here you can use double-sided tape, which I actually think I'm going to. Can we tell I have a double-sided tape addiction? Because I use it any chance that I possibly can find an excuse for it. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to lay mine down. Right now I'm going to fight with it. And I'm just going to run it along the edge, the like very edge of my zipper tape. Since I know that's not where I'm going to be sewing. This will gum up your needle, so you want to make sure that you're comfortable with it. You can always clean your needle as you're working, but why put yourself through that if you don't have to? Same thing, just fight with that. Like so. So I got double-sided tape on both sides of my zipper. Can you tell I tried putting my pull on this side and then I gave up and I went over to this side? It's fine. And I'm just going to pull one side of the double-sided tape off, like one paper, and leave the other one on while I center my zipper. So you're going to lay that. Whichever way you like your pulls going, since I'm left-handed, I have mine go to the left. And just center your zipper inside that little window that you created. Once you like how it looks, peel off the second side of the paper. And then I like to pull that fabric, that like pocket panel fabric back to hide it a bit more. But since I'm using the same fabric for both my exterior and my pocket panel, it is not nearly as noticeable as it could be. So it should look like that. And now we're going to top stitch the zipper in place. I'm just going to run my presser foot right along the fold. I'm using a zipper foot, so I'm going to run that right along my fold, stitching both the zipper, the pocket panel into place on the main lining piece. Okay, so that is done. I did go one stitch a little too far here, so I'm going to seam rip that out and I'm going to melt my threads so that doesn't come undone. I hate when that happens. Every time I'm trying to be so careful to make sure that my stitches stay so straight and don't go off course, I always end up going one stitch a little too far. Where's my lighter? There it is. Lighter. And I can melt them because they are polyester threads. If you're using cotton thread, that's not gonna, it's not gonna work. You're gonna cause a fire. So don't do it if you're doing cotton threads, only polyester. Okay, like that. Now you will never know. Ta-da! All right, I'm gonna peel the duct tape off of the back and I'm gonna trim my zipper down slightly and melt those edges so it doesn't unravel over time. Just do a nice little whoopoosh and then fire. And again, be careful if you have cotton fabric that you do not cause a house fire. And I just like to melt my edges just so my zipper does not fray and come out of the seam over time and overuse. There we go. So now we have our pocket, which goes all the way over here, all the way over there. That looks really good. And now we get to attach our back side of the pocket. So let's do that. So you're going to take your second pocket piece and we're going to lay that right side up. Or, well, no, I lied. We're going to take our main pocket piece, lay that right side down so the right side of the first pocket piece is facing up. We're going to take our second pocket piece and lay that directly over our first one, lining up the edges. And clip into place. And now we are only going to clip the 3 sides. We're not going to clip this bottom because that is going to be how we're going to turn the bag all the way through once we're done. So once you have this clipped, we're going to lay it right side down, flip it with the bottom up. We're going to bend this side fabric, and this is what we're going to do to stitch. We're going to stitch down this side, back stitching really good up at the start and at the finish. So we're going to stitch, back stitch, vroom, 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 go all the way down, get to this side, pivot, bend your material up so you can see both pocket pieces, stitch down that side of the pocket piece. Once you get to that corner, turn, pivot, take the exterior and bend that up, stitch down, backstitch, backstitch, leaving the bottom section completely open. We are not sewing that. So let's do that. All right, and once that's done, you have an almost completely attached pocket. So zipper works, we can stick our hand straight through the bottom. Make sure your hand goes through the bottom. That is the only way that we're going to be able to turn this bag inside right. So you got to make sure that is done. So now we're going to move on to the second interior lining piece where I'm doing another modification, adding on a slip pocket. All right, for the slip pocket that I'm adding, I cut a piece that is 12¼ inches tall by 12 inches wide. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this right side up with the even 12 toward the bottom and the 12¼ going up. I'm going to take this piece, fold this in half, clip the 3 sides, leaving a gap in the center. That's what we're going to use to turn this inside out once we stitch these. So slide. This one you really don't have to clip if you are comfortable with not clipping, which I usually am, but I'm being nice and I'm clipping because I know it drives some people crazy when you don't clip. Okay, so like this, I'm going to stitch down this side, stitch over here, back stitch at this red clip, jump over to this purple clip, back stitch here, go down and go over. And I'm going to do this at a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, now that that is done, should look like this, minus this guy. I went a little too far again. And we're going to take scissors and we're going to clip off these corners and this one so we get nice pushed out corners once we turn this inside out. So grab your scissors, clip. For that one, I like to just clip it like that. Here, I will clip here, getting close to the stitch, but not all the way through. Same on this side, clip. And down here, we're going to do that diagonal one again. So it looks like that when we are done. And we're going to turn this inside out through this center hole that we left. And once we turn this out, you can definitely take this to the iron and press it if you would like. I'm not going to. Setting up my iron in my tiny space takes a little too much room. So we're just going to turn this out and poke out those corners nice. You can do this with your finger. You can use a tool with a blunt edge like the purple thing or something like that. I would be careful with the purple thing though. That one does have a tendency to poke through your fabric. If you have a stiletto, same thing, be very careful with that. Any type of turning tool would be helpful. So we're gonna poke that. I'm not gonna go too crazy with, oh, they have to look perfect, because it's just gonna be a slip pocket inside the lining. How many people are judging their pockets and the slip inside their bags? Not many. They're just putting their stuff in it. So, poosh. And roll the seams to create your end, your like that, and it looks like that. My hole is down here. So what I'm gonna do, since this is part of the things that I'm just winging, I'm gonna take this pocket, gonna find my center, and I'm gonna line it up where my two edges hit the edge of the fabric. Like my two bottom pieces are gonna line up with that fabric there, which that looks pretty good. And I'm gonna clip just those edges. Let me see if I pull that in, that's gonna create a huge gap, which I don't want. So now we're just gonna leave this flat. And what we're gonna do next is we're gonna measure in, I'm gonna measure about 1/4 inch in from where, actually no, I'm gonna trim this. I'm gonna trim it. I'm gonna flip to the back so I can see, and I'm gonna trim it. Can we see that I am winging this part? Wha-pow. Yes. Trim to make it flush. Doing the same over here. Trim to make it flush. And then I'm gonna flip it over and now clip it into place along the whole side. Ha ha ha. That's how that's gonna work. Same on this side. 2. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to sew down the pocket, going down across the center, closing this hole that we have here, going up and back stitching. And then I will add some other pockets in there as I'm going through. But let's stitch this down first, then I'll figure out my sizes. Okay, now that I finished this, I did notice that I forgot to top stitch this before putting the pocket in. I don't think it matters. It's completely personal preference. I think this will be fine, especially because I'm adding a divider in the middle of these, so I'm not worried about it. So to add my divider, I'm going to find the center of my panel, same way I find the center for everything else. I'm going to line it up and cut a tiny, tiny, tiny little notch. Whoop-pow. Same at the bottom. Whoop-pow. We got that. And I'm going to use that center to line my ruler up and draw a center marking like this. And I am going to start at the bottom. No. Yeah, I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to stitch up, making the stitch there. Now that the slip pocket is done, I went through and trimmed my threads that were sticking out and melted them with a lighter just to push that down. All good. Only do that with polyester thread. These are really good sizes. I can fit my whole hand in them. Flappy, flappy, flappy. So they look really cute. And now we're actually on to assembly. That was all of the building of the pieces. Now we just get to put them all together. So woo woo, let's get on to that. All right, moving on to assembling the exterior of the bag. What you're gonna need is your bottom piece with your support attached on. Go over there. Both of your exterior main panels, and both of your exterior side pieces. Bam. We're going to start with attaching the bottom piece to the exterior main panels. So put the side panels to the side. And the first thing I'm gonna do is actually add my bag tag. I always forget to add this on this bag, but I'm not doing it today. So I'm gonna take my favorite double-sided tape, straighten that out across there, and I'm gonna pick, I think, the Death Eater one to put my bag tag on. So what I'm going to do is take my Death Eater one, fold the bottom in half, mark my center using scissors, snip, snip, like so. Nice snip. And I think I'm going to measure up. Let me see. Nah, 2.5 inches is too much. 2 inches is too much. 1.5 inches. Well, actually, that's 1 3/4 of an inch. 1 3/4 of an inch up is where I'm going to put my, actually, no, I'm gonna do it right the first time. 1.5 inches up is where I'm going to put my bag tag. And I use my ruler to hold that over the center. Peel away the double-sided tape. Put it like that. And we're gonna stitch this into place. Okay, so besides me, again, going one stitch a little too far, I'm gonna attempt to do the long string method where I turned off the auto backstitch feature on my machine. I turned that off and pulled my threads nice and long. So we're gonna pull those to the back and we're gonna tie those off, melt them, see how that looks. So I'm gonna take my seam ripper and fix that one extra stitch that I did. I really need to stop doing that, especially because I use leather tags, so that hole's not leaving. Melt that, zhoosh. Yeah, that's fine. And then back here, I'm gonna use my stiletto and try to pull these forward. Oh my gosh, I'm doing it. I'm doing it, guys. Same on this one. That one, for some reason, it's not letting me do. So I'm just gonna tie it all together with the other ones and go from there. I'm gonna triple, yeah, let's go triple knot it. Like that. Don't know why it didn't let me do that. Snip that. I didn't snip all the way towards the bottom, but I did snip pretty darn close. And take your lighter, handy dandy lighter, and melt. Try not to melt your foam though. That's a bad idea. Don't do that. I'm gonna melt that. And that's how that looks on that side, which I think looks pretty good. Besides my little mess up down there in the corner, we're gonna pretend that's not there. So now that we have that centered, we're gonna add the bottom piece onto here. We're gonna take it, stretch it like this, and clip it into place. Ooh, actually, no, I lied. We're gonna find our centers first. Find your center. And now it looks like my vinyl did shrink a tiny bit when I was attaching my firm interfacing. So I'm just gonna center. It doesn't look like it shrank a lot. Yeah, it looks like it shrank maybe 1/2 of an inch. Center that with my center here and clip. Going right along the bottom. Once that's clipped, we're going to stitch this down using a 1/2 inch seam allowance right along the bottom. Once that's done, if you centered the stabilizer on pretty well, you're pretty much just going right along the edge of the stabilizer. So once we have this, we are going to lay this down with the seams going toward the bottom. And we are going to top stitch along the bottom, having the seams going right along, having the seams folded towards the bottom. Okay. Just like that. And then we're going to repeat the same process to the other side. All right, so now that we have our centers, our sides all done, we're going to mark our center of this section that is left, lining up the 2 seam allowances and doing a notch. Same on this side, lining up the 2 edges and clipping. So we have our 2 notches marked. We're going to take our first side panel, find the center of the bottom curve, and line that up with the center of our bottom panel. And we're going to clip this into place going all the way up. On a Tuesday. So just clip along. This is probably the most intimidating part of this bag, but it is not difficult at all. This is a great bag if you are just starting with Swoon Patterns. Majority of Swoon Patterns are very easy, are very simple. And this is kind of a good skill builder one because it's teaching you how to do curves, how to fight with the bag, and it actually comes together pretty quickly compared to some other bags that I've done that take me hours. There's one pattern of Swoons that no matter how many times I've tried to make it, me and that pattern, we just don't see eye to eye. And I don't know why it hates me so much, but me and the Denver backpack don't get along. Every time I make it, something goes horribly wrong with it, and I'm just like, I've given up. And I haven't done it like, oh, I've done it twice and then I've never tried. No, I've tried this bag like 5 times because I'm so determined to get it to work, and we don't get along. I can't figure out why. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Me and that pattern just aren't friends, which that's fine. I don't have to be friends with every pattern, I guess. All right, so once we get that, we should have it clipped, and you're kind of starting to see what the shape of the bag is going to look like, kind of. And so now we're going to stitch along this U section at the same 1/2 inch seam allowance that we did for this. So we're going to take this at the 1/2 inch seam allowance, stitch, and then do the same to the other side. Let's go. Smoosh. Don't be afraid to smoosh it, just smoosh. You're not gonna damage it too much, or actually at all. So just move it out of the way. All right, there's that side. Now we're gonna check to see if I have any pleats or anything weird that we need to work out. But since I'm using cotton lycra, it's kind of like a secret because cotton lycra is very good at hiding pleats, hiding little tiny mistakes. Obviously, if you get like a big pleat, you're gonna notice that. But like little ones, most of the time, you're not even going to notice. But I don't even think we have anything to worry about. Look at how cute she's looking. Just the one side. Okay. Sorry, just patting myself on the back there for a second. And now we're gonna repeat that same process with the other side panel. So now that we're here, we can trim down this seam allowance if we wish, and I'm gonna trim off my pieces that are kind of sticking out. So I'm just gonna droop. That's always been a question I've had for people who make patterns. Why have it? I know there's probably like a really simple, right in my face answer for this that I'm just missing. Why do we have it where we sew at a bigger seam allowance just to cut it down? I know there's probably an easy answer. It's probably a very simple answer. Drop the bag. It's probably a very, hit me in the head, thank you. A very simple answer for it. I'm just not getting it. But if somebody could, like, I don't know, shed some insight on that, because I'm confused. Doesn't take me much, though. Okay. Ta-da! And that is putting together the exterior of the bag. So we can kind of give ourselves like a little sneak peek by turning this right side out, so we can see our beautiful hard work so far. Yes. And this is what the exterior of your bag should look like this far. Got the pockets. Oof. I don't know about you guys, but she adorable. So now we're pretty much going to repeat that process for the lining of the bag. All right, so you're going to take your main lining pieces and find your center of your bottom panel. Sneap. Sewing the bottom, sewing the bottom on is the exact same as we did for the exterior. The only thing that's going to be different is when we stitch up the side panels for the lining. And I'll go over that once we get there. So now that all of our centers are marks, right side down, I'm not even gonna bother pinning it or clipping it. I'm just gonna sew it. Same thing, 1/2 inch seam allowance, right down. Now for the bottom of the inside, you don't have to top stitch here. I like to do it just because I like that it holds down my seam allowance toward the bottom. I just like how that looks. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's lining. Nobody's gonna bother. Nobody's gonna bug you about it. It's fine. Most people aren't even gonna notice. So I'm just gonna do that because I like it. Ta-da! And we're gonna do the same on the other side. Now that we have the panel like this, what we are going to do is take our side panels that we haven't even seen these guys yet, but they're here. I was really thinking about doing like a mesh pocket here with some elastic and maybe doing like a water bottle section. Maybe on my next one. I don't know. I might. But we're gonna clip these on the same way that we've clipped on for the exterior. We're gonna take this, find our center. Well, line that up with the center on the bottom. And clip up the sides. And when you're clipping with this pocket, make sure that's out of the way. Do not clip the pocket. We need that to be loosey-goosey for us to turn this right side out. And it can't be loosey-goosey if it's in the seam allowance. So. Like that. And now we're going to start sewing at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And once we get about 1.5 to 2 inches down, we're going to increase our seam allowance to 5/8 of an inch. Gradually, quickly, you can measure it. It really doesn't matter. As long as you're starting at the 1/2 inch, you're increasing it to 5/8. And then when you come around the other side, before you get to the top again, same thing, about 1.5 to 2 inches down, you're going to want to decrease that seam allowance back to a 1/2 inch. So let's do that again. So there we go. You can kind of see, oh, you can see it perfectly there. So I start at a 1/2 inch and I increase my seam allowance. Well, right there I have a bot. But I increase my seam allowance to 5/8, go around, bring it up, and then over here, you see I have it pretty thick, and then I thin it back out. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, and there is the lining. Now, before moving on to the next step, make sure that your zipper pocket on the inside is open so you can access this hole. Zipper all the way open, wide as can be. And now we get to move on to putting the exterior with the interior and adding on the zipper. All right, final steps. What we're gonna need for this section is we're gonna need our completed exterior and our main zipper that we took apart. Love these. Now, on your pattern pieces, there were notches to put on the side panel that are marked zipper placement. I went through and did that, and I cut little notch there, little notch there, and same on this side. Those are going to help with your placement of the zipper. So you're going to take your main panel with your zippers, have your zipper teeth facing down, and you're going to start at that mark, leaving a decent gap. And we're going to start clipping into place, going up, up, and around and down the side. So grab your clippies. All right, so take your tape and have it stick out, probably have the clip go all the way down to the like V, but do your first clip at that notch. That'll make sense in a second why I'm gonna say to do that. And do your final clip at the other notch that's on the other side. So it should look like this. You got this guy, that clip is on your first notch. You're gonna go all the way across. There is your last notch, and you have this little tail, which is fine. What we're gonna do at this side is we're gonna take the clip off, and we're kind of gonna hold our finger there, but bring the tape up, which is going to push your zipper tape up this way. There's definitely many easier ways to do it, but either way, you kind of want it to just go like that and clip that into place like that. You're going to repeat the same process on the other side. So you have your two tails on the same side, and then you have this. So you're going to do the same thing where you're going to take your clip off, going to bend that up to match that where your notch is. and stick your clip like that. So you should have, the zipper tape should curve, and you should have like this kind of like bendy bend right there. So we're gonna sew that next. All right guys, so I actually messed up. The zipper tape is not supposed to be facing up. The teeth are supposed to be facing your fabric. So you want the ends to kind of look like this, where your zipper teeth are going that way, like they're down there, and then you have those right there. So now we're gonna stitch this up at just running along. We're just basting it, and we'll go from there. So time to stitch. And now when we get to the edge, I am pulling the zipper out towards like the bottom of the bag, not into the bag. So it'll look like this, where like it went down and it's out of the seam. Where this one, it is up and it's in the seam. Same on the other side. And there we go. So now we are going to check to make sure that the zipper works properly. We're gonna take our zipper pull, my fancy little zipper contraption. I don't remember which store I got this from. If I find it, I'm gonna link it in the description. I just have to remember which one I got this one from. But we're gonna take our zipper teepees and line this up. I'm gonna fight with the zippers because I can never get it to go on evenly on the first tries. One always ends up going on before the other, and we end up crooked. See, look, I just did it again. See, look, crooked. No, it's supposed to be straight. So it's probably gonna take me like 4 or 5 times to get this on. I tried the fork method of using the fork to get it on, using my teeth to get it on. Me and getting zipper pulls on the first try does not happen. That's good enough. It's like 1 off, but I can handle that. And we make sure that that is good. Yep, that's not going anywhere. Hey! All right, so now all we have to do is put the lining on. Oh, no, I lied. We're gonna put the zipper end on. So we have strap end, tiny little screwdriver, and some glue. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take the tail portion of our zipper, and we're gonna kind of take the flaps. Zipper looks like this. Take this section, fold. Actually, let's go under. Fold and fold like that. And we're gonna slide our zipper end in the thing. But it actually may help if we melt that. So let's do that. Hold on. Get that nice. Take our whiter. Melty, melty, melty. Smoosh. Melty, melty, melty. Smoosh. Now, I want to peel off this paper. I mean, this like plasticky thing. Come here. Gonna slide that in. Oh yeah, that goes in nicely. So it'll look like that. I'm gonna take my glue, stick the glue in the dot where the screw goes. Then take my tiny little screw and my tiny little screwdriver and screw the screw in the hole. I'm sorry, I can't say that with a straight face. I can attempt, but it doesn't work. You want to make sure this is tight in there, but you do not want to strip the screw. If you do, you're going to be in some trouble. And I'm going to just do it one more extra turn for good measure. And like, that's not coming out. Okay, so there's our cute little zipper end. So now we can unzip that all the way and our pull isn't going to come off. And then the final thing we have to do is take our lining and stick this right side together in, like the bag has to go in the lining with the right sides together, folding our handles down so we don't accidentally sew those sticking out of, like out of the seam, which will put it inside the bag, and then that will make the straps pointless. Don't do that. So it should look like this jumbled mess at the moment, because now we have to go through and clip everything together. We have to clip to make sure that our corners meet, that the zipper is going to be caught in the seam, make sure that the long tails, if I were you, I would tuck those into the pocket that are on that side. Tuck it in the pocket, keep it out of the way. That'll help a lot. And I like to start clipping at the V on the side pocket, and work my way up. And there we go. Everything lined up perfectly. So now we're going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance around the entire top. Oh, I almost just spilled my entire bag of clips on the floor. That would have been really sad. But we're going to stitch along the entire opening circle at a 1/4 inch seam allowance, back stitching, start and end, go all the way through. Let's get it. Ta-da! Now we get to turn this right side out and make sure that we did not catch the zipper in that like securing stitch, which I've done a few times, not even gonna lie. Sometimes with the foam, it's a little too thick for me to feel if I did it correctly. So here's just hoping I did it right. Now we can turn this right side out. And I did catch the zipper. Darn it! Okay, so I caught the zipper right there. Right there. No! That's the only place I caught it too. Okay, so I have to turn this right side out, seam rip that section, and do it again. I still can't believe I did that. That was horrible. Sorry, guys. All right. So now that we got that turned out right, and I see that my zipper is not in any of the seams, I am going to just tug on these really quick. Tug on the zipper. If I have any like fray threads or anything that's like sticking out, I'm going to quickly trim those. And a lot of it is just because my fabric frayed a little bit. And that's those threads. Okay, let's zipper up, see how it goes. And there it is. So the final thing that we have to do is we have to top stitch along this seam. So let's get it. Starting at the V, we're gonna be sewing from inside the bag, so you're gonna want to make sure that you take your time, make sure you fold everything out of your way. This is the last piece that like we have to do that could really mess up the bag. So take your time, start at the bottom, and work your way up. And now that that is done, I'm just going to clean up a few threads on the back. I ran out of my bobbin the first time going through, so I gotta fix where I had to start and stop, where my bobbin decided it didn't want to make it a little bit longer. The final thing that we have to do is close up that hole in the pocket that we used for turning the bag, and we're done. I took the raw edges, grabbed at the seam allowance, and just kind of like pinched and rolled it inwards to like make that. And then I'm just gonna clamp. It was almost the exact same I did for the wallet, except for I don't need to clip this. like that. We have a few stray threads that we're just gonna go like this. And the bag itself is finished. Stuff that back in, zip it up. So there's our inside. We have our main zipper. We have the 2 pockeys that we added. And then we have our main compartment. Like that. So the bag is done. I am going to make the additional shoulder strap spot, especially because I have these cute little connectors to do so. And it's those connectors. So I'm gonna make the shoulder strap same way that I made the handles. Two more, going another 1/8 inch in, just to make sure that it like compresses this like fuzzy like fleece lining down a bit. Actually might go a little bit more. Yeah, we'll go right there. And now it looks like that. So now we're going to construct this like any normal adjustable slider. I am going to fight with these threads that are on the back that drive me nuts. Rawr. I got my slider. I'm going to put it wrong side toward the slider. Flip it up. I'm actually going to give it a little bit more juice because I like to double fold because it hides my raw edges. Like that. We're going to take our press, have it like this. I'm going to go more toward the back center and put my hole. Thankfully, with all the lines I stitched on it, it's pretty easy for me to go through and find the center. So I went through, popped the hole in there, grabbed the rivets that fell on the floor. Stick the rivet through. See that I didn't poke the hole all the way through because this is a lot of vinyl. So wait, this is 12 layers of vinyl I'm going through. So yeah, looks like I'm gonna have to poke it through this way. Thankfully I could see where the hole was that it started. There we go. All right, we're good now. So stick that through, grab my cap, fight to get the cap out of the bag. Get off. Snap that on. Then we're going to take our slider. Well, not our slider. Our clasp. Slide that on. And make sure that it's going like that. So your hook is down here. Keeping this straight, you want the back side of the thing to go like that. So I'm not explaining well. So you have your hook. You want to make sure that when your slider is there, the folded side of your slider is touching this side. It's not on the front. It's sandwiched in between. And then you're going to take this end, pull it up, then smoosh your slider like that. Put it through the other end of the slider like that. And then take your other slider. So you want it, that guy facing this way. There's your slider. There's your other clap. And then same thing. I'm going to double fold and flip. which if you don't want to do the double fold, you don't have to. I just don't like how the raw edges look on my thing, which you could also end with strap ends. I don't have any bronze strap ends, which is why I'm not using any. Give that a nice push. If you didn't get through all ends, it's all right. Just flip it and do the same. Push it in the hole like so. Grab another one of these. Let's go, let's go. Snap that guy into place, which it is fighting me for some reason. I see, hold on. I had to clear some fuzz out of the way. There we go. Make sure that's center, get that fuzz out. And snap into place. I could probably use a longer stemmed rivet, not rivet. I'm not a frog. Rivet. Unscrew. Put the setting dies in. Spin, 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 spin. And set the rivets. That one's good. And same for this one, but it popped, so I have to like redo it. And then lose that backing. I'm not even gonna fight to find the backing right now. I'm just gonna grab another one. And come on. It doesn't want to go. Why not? There we go. Okay. Smoosh. And set. All right. And that is the final thing that we had to do for this bag. Let us clean up and do an overview. Okay, and we are done. The bag looks awesome. Here we go up close. The bag came out beautifully. We have the handles that we modified on to not use connectors, and we did the invisible connector method. Then we have the detachable shoulder strap, which are connected by these adorable little connector rings. So cute. This can be taken off at any time, like so, leaving you with just the handles, which looks amazing by itself. We got the 2 exterior pockets, if I can fight with it, right there. And right there. It was a lot easier to get into if you're doing it normally, but if you're like trying to do it at an angle, it's weird. Okay, now we're fine. So that is the exterior of the bag. We have an awesome zipper that goes all the way up and around. Opens up to this huge inside that we had the slip pockets that we modified. That's not in the pattern, but we put that in. And then over on this side, we have our zipper pocket. Looking at this, I do kind of wish I did that mesh pocket idea for the side. Looking at how the bag is laying and how it looks on the inside, that would have been a really cool addition. So I definitely would suggest doing that if you're thinking about it. The hardest part of this bag, I would have to say, is doing the top stitching for the final stitch, stitching these guys. I think that to me is the hardest, which could just be because I don't have a out of table machine. It might be easier for those who do have an out-of-table machine. And this is the handbag side. This is not the commuter size. So when you buy this pattern from Swoon, there are two sizes that are available: the handbag and the commuter, which is bigger. I haven't made that size yet, so I don't know how much bigger it is, but it's there. I do rate this one as I would say beginner friendly. This one you are definitely able to do if you're a beginner. Just be cautious with the materials that you use. If you're going to use like heavyweight vinyls for majority of the bag, it's gonna be a little tougher. If you're going to do quilt cottons, make sure you interface everything. I suggest if you're going to do something like this and you're just trying it for the first time and you're seeing if the pattern works for you, do some type of cotton lycra, which is like the stretchy material that most people use in leggings or sweaters or things like that. It's very forgiving for if you get any pleats or anything. It does come out very well. So I do recommend that. Make sure you interface it with woven interfacing. And when you use the foam, or if you're going to use fusible fleece or a stiffer interfacing, it is going to help beef up the bag. It's got some nice structure. I can still smush it and it goes right back to its size. So yeah, I think it turned out really good. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys would like to see any other patterns or any other tips or anything that you would like me to go over, a review of my machine or of that machine that's there. You can kind of guess my thoughts on that one already. But yeah, thank you guys so much for everyone who's been subscribing or is going to subscribe. Hey, hint there. I hope this was fun. Let me know if there's anything I can do better. This is my second tutorial, so I don't know fully if I'm doing things right. We're not going to have music in this one, so I'm not going to blow anybody's eardrums out. Thank you guys so much. Like, comment, share. Can you still share? I think you can still share. If you can, share it. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, subscribe. I'm going to try to post out a video every week. Just one. See how I do. Maybe it'll get better when I get better. Yeah, I'm really bad at these outros, guys. I'm so sorry. I wonder if it'll be better if I'm just like, oh, look, here's the bag. Bye. Overall, amazing bag. Swoon did a beautiful job with the pattern. I highly recommend you guys pick this one out. I have made this one many, many, many times. Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm gonna leave before I get any more awkward. All right. Bye.